Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday, July 29th, 2021. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. Let's get after it today, right? So, a few things here. We got some initial jobless claims from the state program coming out today. That's going to be not a huge piece of news, or at least I don't anticipate it being that big of a catalyst. Right, that's going to come out at 8:30. So whatever that reaction is, it's going to get priced into the market anyway. So let's see how this thing comes together, right? With the regular state program, right? These initial jobless claims, you kind of more care about the national numbers more than the state level numbers. So it's worth keeping an eye on, right? It's kind of like that appetizer to see what the main course is like. So let's get through sort of today's action, right? SPY, pretty decent recovery day yesterday. Kind of still continued within Tuesday's range, right? Still looks like dip buyers are supporting any sort of move here and can't seem to break down under that three green soldiers pattern. So let's see if we can get that continuation breakout up and over that 441.10 area towards that 442. Right, and then a break above 442's got room towards that 445 area plus. Right, if we go Bollinger Bands, we have a chance here of going Bollinger Band breakout, right, up and over that 440 area. Then we can maybe test that 441 zone. So that could be something that comes together here this morning as well. But definitely not my first priority. I want to see this thing, if it can give us a little bit of a break and run, right, for a move up and over that 441 and then see if we can get that further fall through, right? To the downside, hard to be super bearish here at the moment. I think if we do get any sell-offs, my mind's will be more looking to buy that dip versus looking to try to catch that falling knife. Right, nice inside day here from QQQ. Bull flag breakout, three green soldiers continuation, right? Still very much in play. Inside day here yesterday. So you can look at this. You can try to play this a couple ways. One, you can look for that breakout up and over this 367.50 towards that 369, or a breakdown under this 363 towards that 360. Right. Alternatively, I think this is probably what I prefer to the upside is just look for that breakout up and over that all-time high. Right. If you have that strength, it's going to have that fall through. If not, you're going to get head faked regardless. So if it doesn't have that strength, right, you're going to get head faked at this 367. So if the move is strong, it's going to break out up and over that 369, and it's going to give you a little bit of fall through. If it's not, well, I reckon you're going to get stuck here under. Moves to the downside. I'm happy to play this, try to catch this, chasing this down a little bit, right, under this 367 or sorry, under this 363, right. Moves towards that 360 area pretty easily with very limited resistance. Right, this is all just wicks, so I don't expect there to be much in the way of slowing things down there. Right, Apple, nice day here yesterday. Touch kind of the upper and lower areas of that pattern trend that we were looking at. So now, so we can get that breakout up and over, right, or that breakdown down and under. We can get a move under that 141.50, move towards that 140 area. And then opens the door for a move towards that 135, 136 zone. I personally still think the path of least resistance is to the upside, right? If we can get up and over this 150.37, which Apple has failed at now a couple times, this thing could really start to push. I think I mentioned this yesterday, but it seems like right now they're trying to kill the momentum from all these earnings, right? They're selling off the earnings so that when you do make new all-time highs, it's just not that much momentum left in that play. So let's see if that's the case here with Apple, right? See if we can recover a little bit here. Today, right, I'm probably not super interested in any breakouts until we get that move over that 150 or that move under that 140, 130. So not really that much action here pre-market. So we're just going to, maybe more to watch than to trade today. Right? Tesla looks a lot like QQQ with that nice inside bar into a fairly wicky, right? Like after a fairly wicky red bar. Right? So we get this break under the 639. I'm happy to play this down towards that 630. Or alternatively, get that break over that 665. Right? Look for that 660, then that 665 area. So definitely a few things there on Tesla. I mean, I think for myself personally, my favorite setup is that you get that break up and over that 670, right? And then you look for that wedge continuation move over that 700 zone, right? Microsoft still holding up really well here. Kind of looks like it's reforming an ascending wedge like pattern or breakout. So kind of a pseudo inside bar, not quite. You got a little bit of a higher high yesterday, right? But not really. They didn't really try to break it out. It's not really a failed breakout. So let's see if we can get that move up and over now. There's 290.15, right? And that can start moving $2 at a time until you kind of hit that 295 to 300 area. Breakdowns kind of hard to be bearish here at the moment. Kind of like the SPY. If we get a big dip, like a big sell-off, right, I might just look to buy the dip off of that trend line. That's really all I see there on Microsoft. So it needs to kind of get up and over that 290 zone for me to be super interested, or test this trend line, right, on any sell-off. If we lose that trend line, I'm looking for breaks under that like 275 area. So let's go over some of the few like pattern plays here that look interesting to me. This Roku continues to be something that just looks strong, right? So you had that bull flag breakout, right, over this, say, 264. Now you're looking for that continuation, right? You had that failed breakout continuation on Tuesday. Now you had that inside bar yesterday. To get that break up and over this 475, right? You got room towards that 490 area. Moves under that 452, got room towards that 438. It's going to be a little bit of resistance in between there at those round numbers. But definitely some clean levels to play to. Right, on this Roku, I want to see a breakout up and over that 491.20 zone. Right, that can move towards that 495 and then that 500. So I think there's a lot of potential there and certainly looks strong. All right, this Morgan Stanley, I feel like I've been talking about this thing for a month now, but it's continuing to consolidate right after its wedge breakout inside bar, right? So you're seeing a lot of potential kind of signs of consolidation here. So if this thing could finally give us that breakout up and over this 97.20, this thing could go to 100 pretty quickly, right? You're at all-time highs, so this is definitely something that I like here this morning. Right, I'm going to continue watching this until I get a really obvious rejection, because this continued consolidation looks strong for me. So I'm happy to keep watching and trading this. It's going to be div day, so if you want to be eligible for that dividend, right, you got to get in today, and maybe that could be that little catalyst, right, for that run up. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, but that looks really strong to me. Right, Facebook, big earnings beat yesterday, but seems like the theme this week is when earnings are strong, they're selling things off. Right, we've already talked about the theory on they want to take away some of that momentum, so we can't make too many monstrous higher highs, right? Because that makes that eventual dump just super dramatic. So it'll be interesting to see how this thing comes together. Right, there is a nice gap to play, kind of under this 357 towards that 351. A little bit of resistance at that 355 area, but I still think I prefer we can get that bounce off that trend line for a move back towards that 377, right? That could be a potentially nice swing. Or if Facebook is actually strong this morning, you look for that rip and break over that 377.50 area, right? Targeting that 380, then 385, 390, 400. So I think Facebook's got a little bit of potential. But I need to see how it reacts here now this morning on those earnings. Be happy to try to bounce it off this trend line, right? Maybe happy to try to play this gap fill to the downside. Maybe make this red here so it's easier to see or easier to understand that that's a bearish play. But I still think that the weekly bias is to the upside here, right? We are starting to get to near the end of month, right? You got one more day here on month end. So I still think that the weekly narrative remains relatively bullish, and I think we still have a good chance here if this thing can recover. So let's see if Facebook has the legs. Right, AMD was a absolute ripper for DTR yesterday. Right, we were waiting for this flag breakout for a while and absolutely sniped it beautifully. Right, so now we're looking for that breakout up and over that 100 area. Right, I'm expecting that to be a little bit of psychological resistance just above previous all-time highs, right? You can look for that rip over this 98.79, but I just think you run out of zone with that, like run out of space with that next resistance zone at like that 99.30 area. So I personally rather just wait for that break and rip over that 100, and then I think you can get a little bit of follow through, right? I think probably what you want to see here now though on this AMD is either that monster rip today where it like goes to like 105, or you get a period of consolidation, like a couple inside bars, right, or a little sell off and test to that 97, right, test to that 95 area, right, and then go again. It doesn't have to move in a straight line up. We're happy to let this thing retest and give us another point for entry, right? The more times we can see it try to sell off and then be like bought up by dip buyers, right, the more likely that rip up is going to be. Right, now, another one that we've kind of been waiting for, similar type situation is NVIDIA bull flag, right? If we can get that rip up and over this 200 area, right, pre-split 800 zone, then this thing can really fly. It's got room towards that 201.75, then that 205. So I think this could be a lot of fun if this thing will set up here for us. So I want to talk about the airlines here briefly, right? So Delta, BA, right, and UAL kind of all giving us, we're getting like 2 out of 3 here, right? 2 out of 3 look very similar. Or say UAL and Delta, right, kind of looking like similar. They've got trend line patterns, right? Delta looks like a bit of a bull flag. You can get over that 42.30, and UAL, right, looks like a nice trend line breakout now holding. If you can get that move up and over that $50 range, right? The reason I'm highlighting this is because BA, right, it's giving us that hammer going in to a big gap, right? So yesterday BA gapped up, has a gap to fill to the downside. But it, it held up really well after its earnings. So you can see this like relative. Generally, there was like good sell-off in the morning, and BA held up relatively well, right? So although this looks extremely bearish, right? If these other airlines, if this UAL and this Delta isn't selling off, right? This BA, man, it's gonna be hard to fill that gap to the downside. So you're gonna want to be watching those airline proxies, right? And just kind of seeing how they are reacting today. Because if they're selling off, okay, then yeah, BA has a really good chance. But if they're strong or if they're just sort of chopping about here, then I don't think you really want to go after this BA to the downside. Yeah, this gap looks really tempting, but it feels like it just could be a little bit of a trap to try to get you in there so they can rip it back up over that 237 area. Not super bullish on this. If we can get that breakout over this 237, I don't have that much interest in that at the moment. I'm going to need like a nice, full body inside bar or full body bullish or, bullish engulfing candle before I really start to take bullish scenarios seriously here on this BA. But I just think it's really important to not fight the general market on this one today. Okay, Snap, right? Snap's continuing to hold up really, really well. So giving you that inside bar yesterday, right? Higher low, which you really like to see, right? Failed gap breakdown, bouncing off trend line. So now you get that rip up and over this $77 area. You're going to move towards that 78 and then 79 zone. If you get that break over this $80, well, that's when you can start to really get that aggressive follow through. And that's when you can get that fun move. So having a failed breakdown, right, bullish inside bar, and looking for that wedge breakout continuation. So Snap has a lot of potential if this thing can continue to hold up. And then last one here is this ATVI, right? So we're looking for that wedge breakdown or continuation, right? Wedge breakdown continuation or reversal. A nice inside bar yesterday, right? So if you get that breakdown now here under this 84.80, right, this thing's got room down towards that Tuesday wick low of like 81.70. You get that rip up and over, you might be able to reclaim sort of this upper third of this candle and kind of steal that 87.30 to, like 89.50 area, right? The volume on this might be, on this ATVI, might be a little bit deceptive. And so that's going to be, like, I'm going to want to look for stuff that has 1K volume or more. on any of those option contracts. So let's see how this thing comes together. I think this looks like a pretty strong setup as well. Biases to the downside, right? Would rather play continuation moves all the way down, but there's definitely a lot of strength there. So there's a lot of nice patterns. Right? If you want to see how I want to trade all these, then please check out my website, www.dtrtrading.com/the blueprint. Right? Free to download, free to use. Link is in the description below. So I hope you download that, take advantage of that free resource, and absolutely crush it today. So that's really it, guys. That's sort of what my thoughts are here going into market open. Looks like it could be an interesting day. Hopefully we get some nice fall through and continue on this really nice green week. So best of luck out there today, guys, and happy hunting. See you all tomorrow for the pre-market recap.